The Son Who Could Not Walk, Part 2. Once there was an elder, a sage, and the emperor of the country was a big heretic, and he made the entire country into heretics. The sage went and summoned his whole family and said to them, "Surely you see that the emperor is a big heretic and has made the entire country into heretics. Even some of our family he has already made into heretics. Therefore let us set out for the wilderness so that we will be able to remain in our faith in GD. Blessed be he." They agreed on this. The sage uttered a divine name. It brought them to a wilderness. This wilderness did not please him. He again uttered a name. It took them to yet another wilderness. This wilderness too did not please him. He uttered another name. Again it took him to another wilderness. This wilderness did please him, and the wilderness was close to the 2,000 mountains, mentioned above. The sage went and made a circle around them so that no one would be able to come near them. Now there is a tree which, if it would be watered, there would not remain any of us, that is, a tree of the demons. Therefore some of us should stand digging day and night, allowing no water to reach the tree. The other one asked, "Why do they have to stand day and night digging? Once they have dug one time, then the water will be unable to come. It should suffice." He answered him, "Since there are gossipers among us, and these gossipers go and instigate disputes between the one king and the other king, and this causes wars, and the wars cause earthquakes, and the earth around the ditches falls in, which allows water to reach the tree. Therefore they must constantly stand and dig. And when there is a new king among us, they make all the mockery before him, and they rejoice. One jests in how he harmed a baby, and how the mother mourns over it. Another shows another mockery, and similarly many various mockeries. And when the king makes a feast, he goes and takes a walk with his ministers and tries to uproot the tree. Because if this tree would not exist at all, it would be very good for us. And the king fortifies his heart exceedingly in order to uproot the tree entirely. When he approaches the tree gives a great shout, so a great fear falls on him, and he must turn around. Once a new king was appointed among us, that is, among the demons, for all this did the cloud tell to the emissary, as mentioned. Great mockery was done before him, as mentioned, and he became very joyous and made his heart very bold, and wanted to tear out the tree completely. So he went out walking with his ministers, strengthened his heart exceedingly, and ran to tear out the tree completely. When he arrived at the tree, it let out a great cry at him, and a great fear fell on him. He turned around and was very angry. As he was coming back, he took a look and noticed men sitting, the aforementioned sage with his men. The king sent from his people to harm them, as was their custom. When the sage's family saw them, they were overcome with fear. The sage called out to them, "Do not fear." When the demons arrived there, they were unable to come close due to the circle that was around them. He sent other messengers, but they too were unable to come close. The king came in great anger and went himself, and he too was unable to come close to them. He asked the elder to let him into them. The elder said to him, "Since you requested of me, I will indeed let you in. However, it is not customary for a king to go alone, so I will let you in with one other." He opened a little door for them, they entered, and he closed the circle again. The king said to the elder, "How do you come and settle on our place?" He said to him, "Why is it your place? It is my place." The king said to the elder, "You have no fear of me?" He said, "No." He said again, "You have no fear at all." And he displayed himself, becoming very big, up to the sky, and wanted to swallow him. The elder said, "I still have no fear of you at all, but if I want, you will be afraid of me." And he went and prayed a bit, and big thick clouds formed, and there was great thunder, and thunder then kills all of the king's ministers easily. None remained except for the king and the one who was there with him in the circle. The king begged the elder for the thunder to cease, and it ceased. The king replied and said to the elder, "Since you are such a person, I will give you a book of all the demon families. For there are miracle workers who only know of one demon family, and even that family they do not know completely. But I will give you a book in which all the families are written. For by the king they are all recorded, and even a newborn is also registered by the king." The king sent the one who was with him for the book. Hence the sage did very rightly by letting him in with another. For otherwise, whom would he send? He brought him the book. He opened it and saw that inside were millions and billions of their families. The king promised the elder that they would never harm the elder's entire family, and he commanded to bring portraits of his whole family, and even if a baby was born, to immediately bring its portrait, so that they would not harm anyone from the elder's family. Afterwards, when the time came for the elder to leave the world, he called his sons and commanded them, and said to them, "I leave you this book. Surely you see that I have the power to use this book in holiness, and even still I don't use it. I just have faith in GD, may he be blessed. You too should not use it. Even if there will be one of you who will be able to use it in holiness, he still should not use it, but just have faith in GD, may he be blessed." Then the sage died, and the book was passed on as an inheritance and came to his grandson, his son's son. And he had the power to use it in holiness, but he just had faith in GD, may he be blessed, and did not use it as the elder wished. The gossipers that were among the demons tried to persuade the elder's grandson, "Since you have grown daughters and are unable to support them and marry them off, therefore use this book." And he did not know that they were trying to persuade him, and thought that his heart was advising him to do this. So he traveled to his grandfather, to his grave, and asked him, "Being that you left a testament that we should not to use this book, but only have faith in GD, may he be blessed, now my heart is telling me to use it." His grandfather, who was deceased, answered him, "Even though you can use it in holiness, it is better that you should have faith in the GD, may he be blessed, and not use it, and GD, may he be blessed, will help you." And that is what he did. And the day came to pass, when the king of the country, where this grandson of the elder lived, became ill. He got involved with doctors, but they couldn't heal him. Due to the high heat there in that country, the treatments did not help. The king of the country decreed that the Jews should pray for him. Our king, that is the king of the demons, said, "Since this grandson has the power to use this book in holiness, and he still does not use it, therefore we need to do him a favor." He commanded me to become a cloud there, so that the king of that country would be healed by the treatments that he had already taken and the treatments he would yet take. And the grandson knew nothing about this. And that is why I have become a cloud here. And the one who previously had no strength in his feet was following them and heard everything. The one who was a cloud was brought before the demon king, and the king commanded to take the strength from him and return it to the other king, from whom they had taken away his strength because he had built upon their territory as mentioned, and they returned the strength to him. The son of the demons, whose father and mother had wept for him, as mentioned, had returned, and he arrived very afflicted and without strength, because he had been severely tortured there. He was very enraged at the sorcerer who had tortured him so much there, so he ordered his children and his family to always stalk this sorcerer. But among the demons are talkers, that is, gossipers, and they went and told the sorcerer that they were waiting to ambush him, so that he could protect himself from them. The sorcerer performed some strategy and called upon more sorcerers who knew more families in order to protect himself from them. The demon's son and his family were very enraged at the tattlers for having revealed his secret to the sorcerer. Once it happened that some members of the demon son's family and some of the tattlers went together on the king's watch. The son's family went and made false accusations against the tattlers, and the king killed the tattlers. The remaining tattlers were enraged, and they went and made an upheaval, that is, a huge war, between all the kings. And there were hunger, infirmity, murder, and plagues among the demons. So wars were waged between all the kings, and this caused an earthquake, and all the earth around the tree fell in, and the tree was watered completely. None of them, that is, of the demons, survived whatsoever, and they became as if they had never existed. Amen. Rabbi Nachman's words from Tehillim: "Blessed is the man that does not walk, does not stand amongst gatherings of scoffers, and he will be like a tree growing by a stream." The entire story is alluded to in this chapter, Psalms 1. Whoever has eyes, let him see, and whoever has a heart, let him understand what on earth is happening. Rabbi Nathan writes, the secret of this story is alluded to in chapter 1 in the Psalms. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach / fortunate is the man who has not walked the path of the wicked and the path of the just. These are the aspect of the paths mentioned in the story that have the dust that they sprinkle, etc. Wehaya kehetz shatul al palgei mayim, asher pirio yiten beito vealehu, and he will be like a tree planted by streams of water, which gives its fruit in its season and its leaves. And all that he does will prosper. This refers to the tree in the story, that all of its fruit and leaves, everything in its entirety, are all very beneficial, as mentioned. Examine and you will find more allusions. Fortunate is the man who has not walked, for initially he could not walk, for later on he could not stand either. And in the company of scorners refers to the settlement of the mockers who make mockery, etc., as mentioned. Like chaff which the wind drives away refers to the wind that carries away the dust. And all this is just a few superficial allusions that Rebbe Nachman enlightened our eyes with a little bit in order to somewhat understand and comprehend the extent to which these things reach. But the things are still sealed in utter concealment, for all these stories that Rebbe Nachman told are very, very high above human comprehension and hidden from the eye of all living creatures, etc.